Next on Rugby Wrap-Up's MLR Weekly, Emmanuel Albert, the star flanker for the Houston SaberCats. WER star of the Denver Onyx, Rachel Ehrecke. Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News, and John Fitzpatrick of Rugby Morning, plus the best dang recap in rugby. Rugby Wrap-Up's MLR Weekly brought to you by Sheehy Auto Stores. It's easy at Sheehy. The Pig and Whistle, New York City, the world's best rugby pub. And Lean and Limber, stretching your way to a healthier lifestyle.
There is a massive responsibility on the 23 that are privileged enough to step out on that field today.
Let's get it all started with rugby's best recap. On a perfect night in Los Angeles, Rugby Football Club LA were once again imperfect, and Old Glory looked to be on their way to a huge win. Jack Iscaro's try in the 41st minute put DC up by 11 points, but LA, shorthanded for the third time because of sin bin trips, scored a huge try. In a second half of momentum shifts, LA even overcame yet another red for 2 yellow cards in the second half. They hate playing with 15 guys, folks, and sprinted away with a win that Old Glory let slip away. Final score, 54-44 LA. Down in the Big Easy, it's been difficult times for NOLA, and facing Chicago at the Gold Mine Airline wouldn't ease the struggle. Yet, the hosts struck gold first and led 11-zip after 34 barroom brawl minutes. But Dylan the Butcher Fawcett got the Hounds back in the fight with a shorthanded try. And in the pivotal 68th minute, snake-bitten NOLA's try was taken away, and they would ultimately come up just 2 points shy as the second city side are alone in first place. Chicago 20, New Orleans 18. Houston, we have a problem. Those were the words heard on the internets from San Diego fans as the SaberCats methodically mauled the previously unbeaten Legion in Space City before a cacophonous crowd. Indeed, Houston ball carriers ran amok for 504 yards, that's 461 meters if you're from across the pond, to facilitate 4 tries and a bonus point win that tied them for first place with San Diego. Cats 34, Legion 14. In Tukwila, tucked amongst the storied trees and squatch-like terrain of the Pacific Northwest, a desperate Seattle side faced the hard luck and still winless Carolina Anthem. Seattle struggled at home despite the raucous crowd, but after swimming upstream for 40 minutes, the Seawolves rode a brilliant performance by Devon Rousseau, the nifty, nimble Namibian. Say that 3 times as fast as you can, to squeeze out a must-have win. Final score, 25-17 Seattle. With Utah's snow-capped mountains backdropping, the Utah Warriors sprinted out to what looked to be an insurmountable 26-5 halftime lead. But the unflappable, flapjack-liking Free Jacks never faced a hill they wouldn't climb. And climb they did, scoring 28 unanswered points in a season-saving road win, capped off by Joe Johnston's theft, run, and pass to facilitate the FJ's winning try at death, leaving the wildly worried Warriors wanting. New England 33, Utah 26. Woo! We could use a break after that. Why not Rugby Morning's Coffee Break, our recurring segment with John Fitzpatrick calling in from Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia. John, welcome. How are you? What do you got?
Matt, right off the jump, I'm giving you a yellow card. I don't like your attitude already.
Was it because I stammered during the intro?
Yeah, you did. That's your second yellow card. Don't question me.
What do I do now?
Well, Matt, why don't we get on with this? You're probably wondering why I've given you another yellow card.
Because I'm the host. It's like I'm a specialty front rower.
Keep it up, McCarthy. I'm gonna flash you the red.
All right, next.
Let's go to Utah. The Utah Warriors, New England Free Jacks, as your recap mentioned. Utah up 26-5 after the half, seemingly cruising to another victory. They scored 28 unanswered points in the second half, a franchise record comeback. Let's move to the Houston-San Diego game. This match was circled as the match of the week. Did you just interrupt me? Yellow.
Well, you didn't mention Emmanuel Albert, who you just passed in the green room hallway.
I'm getting to that in a moment.
You get a yellow card.
No, you get a yellow. Anyway, Matt, the top two teams in the Western Conference, but it was a masterclass put on by fly half Davey Kutzer, who's tracking towards U.S. eligibility. He scored a try, had a try assist as the SaberCats slowed down the Legion train. Sam Tuafua also rumbled for over 100 meters. Emmanuel Albert had a great game. Houston hosts L.A. on Sunday, so that'll be interesting. Matt, what do you think of that?
I think Houston wins that match.
Matt, Red, you're off the show. Get out of here, seriously. Get. Let's go.
Boop.
And on that note, I'm going to toss it to commercial break and an interview with Emmanuel Albert.
Digs like a demented mole there.
Need a great price on a new vehicle? Sheehy makes it easy. Easy Price shows you our lowest prices on the Mid-Atlantic's largest selection. Find your best price online or at any of our 31 dealerships.
It's easy at Sheehy. Sheehy.com.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street.
How you doing? I'm Jim Hamilton. I'm at the Pig and Whistle. I'm at the famous Pig and Whistle. Look, I've got my rucksack on. I'm a well-known man around the world as one of the best rugby players to have ever played the game. No, I'm not. It's a lie. But we've got Paul O'Connell's montage on the wall. I've heard a lot about this place, and I'm here. Make sure, though, that you come here, but you also tune in to Rugby Wrap Up.
And we are back with one of the budding stars in Major League Rugby, Mr. Emmanuel Albert of the Houston SaberCats. Emmanuel, welcome back to MLR Weekly.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back. It's been a while, but it's good to be back.
It has been a while. And before we get into what's going on currently, let's go back a little bit and so folks can catch up on you. I mean, a lot's happened in your life. A lot's happened in your life through rugby specifically in a transformative way. And just take us back briefly. You didn't grow up in the wealthiest of families, to say the least, right? And your mom basically raised you. And at a point, you were living in Minneapolis, or you're from Minnesota, and it was Minneapolis. And correct me if I'm wrong at any point, but you moved to the suburbs, kind of, and that's where you discovered rugby. And if that's the case, can you take it from there?
Yeah. Wow. I'm surprised you actually remember that from so long. But
come on, man, it's a great story.
No, that's pretty much the nail on the head. I grew up in northeast Minneapolis, kind of, like the city in Minnesota, like a bad area, with just like my mom and my siblings. But was living there for a while, but then we finally moved out to the suburbs, and that's kind of when the opportunity to play rugby came into effect. This was when I was in high school, my freshman year of high school. Met this guy on the baseball team, and his stepdad was the coach, and just really wanted me to get involved. And I kind of didn't really know what I was signing up for at that point, but it's kind of like steamrolled my life into what it is today. So
let's go to college. You went to Lindenwood.
Yeah.
Josh Macy
University. I think I'm wearing.
There you go. You're representing.
Yeah.
Josh Macy, he's going to be giddy about this interview, but tell us about your time at Lindenwood.
Lindenwood was a big part of my life. The most, other than now playing in the MLR, that was like, where I really grew as a player. Like, spent my most time playing rugby, 4 years there, and having, Josh Macy as a coach, and Coach Jimmy Harrison, who's now like a USA analytic, just having that high level of talent there. You go from a high school where you're like a big fish in a small pond per se, and then now you're with a bunch of big fishes in a smaller pond.
Sure. Yeah. Hey.
So, yeah.
Professional sports, man.
Yeah. No, it really sharpens you up and just builds that competitive nature, which, I've always been a fan of, just being able to compete and just trying to prove myself against the so-called like best of the best, just seeing where I fit in.
Do you take on a mentor kind of role at this point? Or you still, you come with a guy like Seth?
We don't really play the same position, so I can't really help him in the sense of like, how to throw, or helping him with like technique on, being a hooker and scrumming. I always remind him, like, he wants to be great, and that's what I really like about him, is like seeing that from, a young age, and in this environment, like, he's not afraid to be 19 and be in here with a bunch of pro players who's 25 up. like contact day, like he's banging just like with everybody else. He's in the folds,
Let's get to this weekend. That you just had an enormous win, one of the biggest wins in team history. Pundits like me don't think we know what we're talking about. I picked San Diego.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna get on the call just because you picked San Diego, but
yeah, I know. I would have deserved it, but I'm admitting it here. It's a mea culpa. Come on, man. But what a win!
If we perform how we need to do, then we'll win. If not, then we have to look at ourselves, and we either got outplayed or it just depends on how we perform and how we pitch up to the game. That's really how I just try to dictate that manner when it comes to playing.
We're basically out of time, and I know that you had said to me previously that you looked up to Maro Itoje of Saracens in England. He was the captain this time around, and England really came around in that Six Nations tournament. Do you still look up to Maro Itoje, or do you see him as an equal?
I definitely do respect him. I still do respect him, look up to him in that sense. Definitely have players that I look up to, like him, Sia Khaleesi, Vincent Tutuku. But also at the same time, I do.
You could be playing against him this summer because we have that news that you're now in the Eagles pool. You got the invite.
Yeah, so I do still look up to him, but I do see myself at that level. It's the competitiveness in yourself as a rugby player, whatever sport you play. Like you watch somebody on TV, you want to, growing up, you want to be eventually be able to play against them, and
sure,
you want to see yourself on their level or playing either against them or beside them. So at the end of the day, it's that competitive nature to, even though you might admire somebody as a player, just having that that vision that you're on that same playing field, So,
well, I certainly would love to see that happen for you. That would be a cool thing to happen for you, and I'm rooting for you as a fan and as a person as always. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me on today,
Mr. Emmanuel Albert. We'll be right back after this. And now for the Major League Rugby Play of the Week, brought to you by the Rugby Network. There were great plays across the league, but New England's Joe Johnstone stealing the ball from Utah in the 79th minute and racing up the middle of the pitch, facilitating Andrew Quattrin's try, and the team's dramatically improbable comeback at death stands tall. And that is this week's Major League Rugby Play of the Week, brought to you by the Rugby Network.
I wouldn't like to be at the bottom of that.
You need your cleats? You need them tomorrow? If you order today by 3 p.m. New York time or noon LA time, they can have them to you tomorrow. Young, old, male, female, if you're playing on turf, if you're playing on grass, if you're playing in the rain, you're playing in the heat, they've got you covered. RugbyNow.com. Go there now. And we are back with Rachel Ehrecke of the Denver Onyx in the WER Women's Elite Rugby League, making history. Last week we started. This week we continue, and what a game. But before we get into that, hi, Rachel, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you. Yes, I'm so good. I'm so excited, especially after that big weekend. And yeah, thank you for having me on.
All right, Rachel, I know you're jumping through hoops to come on because you got a very busy day out there in Denver, in Glendale, I believe, right? Is that your home?
Yeah, we're the Denver Onyx, but we train in Glendale. You got it.
Infinity Park, Rugby Town, USA, great stadium, great venue.
Oh, it's beautiful. And it was a beautiful day for rugby this past Saturday, and so many people came out to experience it. And we were talking to some staff members, and they haven't seen that kind of turn up except for maybe some international matches in the past. And so to have the community back us, the rugby community back us, wonderful. But then I think something that I'm really excited for is that there were people out there who had no idea what rugby was.
Right.
They were in the stands, and we had some of our other teammates out there helping them learn the game, and they just are there to see, strong, confident women empower each other. So that was awesome.
Indoctrinating fans. That's the key component here, and that's a great thing. I'm going to walk this back a little bit, Rachel. I would say strong, empowered rugby players too.
Yeah.
You know, you don't just rugby players too. I mean, I'm not, you know, I'm not taking away from anything. I'm just saying, because I'm a fan and I'm watching, and that's, you know, that's an important component, that we have fans watching, and what an exciting time if they were at that park. Right?
Absolutely.
They're going to want to come back.
Absolutely. And we're in this like era of women's sports right now, but it doesn't just exclude, you know, half the population here. It's everybody for sure.
Yeah, and congratulations on that. But I want to get to know you a little bit and have fans get to know you a little bit. What does the number 296 mean to you?
Oh, it means a lot. Yeah, it's that's my Eagle number. It's our heritage number for Team USA. It's when I was capped for flanker, and now I play lock.
That is amazing. But where did it start? When was the first time you picked up a rugby ball?
I first started in high school. It was the very first year that Iowa had girls rugby, which was cool. So it was a little chaotic, but we all just fell in love with the game. I loved the physicality, with the camaraderie. And then I went off and played at Penn State. Played here in Glendale with the Merlins. We went through rebranding, played pro in the UK. But I got my cap actually in Glendale in that stadium. So being here pro in that stadium again, like words can't express how much it means to me. Like, this is home for me, both, you know, with USA Eagles, but also with the Denver Onyx now.
And, you know, in the Denver, Glendale area, you know, outside Infinity Park, because for the club teams, I don't think you got to play on the grass much, right? You had to play on the adjacent fields. That's right. Yeah. Back in 2018, we got to play in the stadium, but it was mostly on that turf pitch. Great turf pitch, but as rugby players know, it's very unforgiving. So when we get to play in grass, it's very nice. Yeah, especially beautiful. When you have the torture of looking at that jewel of a stadium with that great grass right next to you. Don't remind me. My knees are still cut up, okay? That keeps the engine going, though, Rachel. It might keep you dry. You know, every now and then, just look over at that pitch. Have somebody new that's there walk over and go on that pitch and say, "We used to play here." That's right. That's right. Toughen up. Yeah. All right, so you started playing in high school, which is great. But now, did you have a player that you looked up to? Because we did, you know, you are making history, professional rugby, women's rugby in the United States. So there haven't been a lot of role models in a professional space unless you looked overseas. Yeah. Did you have a favorite player or a role model? So when I was young, there was a woman named Jen Sinkler. She was from Iowa, and in high school, I know Jen Sinkler. What? I know Jen Sinkler. You do? Yes. She played on the 7 squad, phenomenal, and she gave me her jersey in high school. And I remember being like, "Wow, this is so cool." I still have my photo, and I have a photo with her. It was just something that I really inspired to be. And then I also learned Mia Bitzer, and I obviously now have played with her, and she's one of my good friends. But seeing her tackle and growing up, I was like, I want to be that, you know? So two lovely women that I inspired to be and now are close with. That is so cool. And Jen's been on our Rugby Wrap-Up shows in the past too. This is MLR Weekly, but she's been on the original, the mothership, Rugby Wrap-Up. Okay, so now it's the job of people like me to let fans, kids know who you are so that your name and your jersey can be given to somebody else, like that happened with Jen. Yeah. Oh, that's crazy to think about, but it is true. Like we are becoming, you know, these representatives of saying like, this is something that you can do. Like this pathway is here now for young girls, and hopefully it continues forward. You know, we have the World Cup coming here and we need this pathway. So yeah, I hope to be that for them. And you're pioneers, right? So everything's a first, everything's a trailblazing. Everything that happens now is going to be a trivia question too for the sports geeks out there, which is great. Yeah, true. So what is it like, you know, after hoisting the Legacy Cup with the Grey Wolves to now this and the opportunity to lift a professional trophy? Yeah, to switch from something that was club oriented, player run. A lot of us put a lot of hard work and time and energy into the WPL to switch to something that we can focus to be players that, you know, ticket sales, admin, coaches, all that stuff is taken care of, medical resources. It's amazing that we can focus on rugby. Granted, you know, we still have to have jobs and stuff, but like, again, we're pioneers, we're trailblazing here. So I think the level of play is also increasing, and it can only go up from here. All right. So I really appreciate you taking the time out of your morning to come on, and we look forward to having you on in the future and much more success with the league and your team.
That's awesome. Thank you so much again.
All right. Thanks, Rachel. Much appreciated. We'll be right back after this.
You need your cleats? You need them tomorrow? If you order today by 3 p.m. New York time or noon LA time, they can have them to you tomorrow. Young, old, male, female, if you're playing on turf, if you're playing on grass, if you're playing in the rain, you're playing in the heat, they've got you covered. RugbyNow.com. Go there now.
Here's your TRO, the Rugby Odds MLR picks of the week via WWE Hall of Famer turned rugby advocate John Bradshaw Layfield, legendary USA Olympic Sevens coach Mike Friday, and King Gipte Belu, inventor of words.
Old Glory. Old Glory's coming back. They had a tough game this week, tough travel all the way across the country. They're playing at home. I think Old Glory is going to make a run this year. They made a run last year. Give me Old Glory at home.
I look at Nola. I absolutely believe that they're going to beat the Anthem. I don't think there's any doubt since the Anthem still haven't won a game. But I think the Anthem are going to cover the spread.
I'm going for New England. I thought they got a comeback against Utah last week. And especially if they've got that Baldy 10 playing. I'm going New England to win and more than cover against Miami.
And hey, be sure to check out the Rugby Odds, the critically acclaimed sports entertainment show featuring big-name talent, exclusive highlights, insightful opinions, and irreverent, if not downright naughty, behavior. And we are back with Mr. Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News / Ray's Rugby. And Bryan, I see that you're decked out in New England Free Jacks attire, which you could have been in a casket had they not turned their season around and saved their season in the second half, improbably in Utah.
Yeah, and they also saved a pretty mediocre weekend of MLR action. And thankfully, there was one game worth watching. And, of course, it's the Free Jacks who saved the day. Well done, lads.
Save the day. Boy, that is ridiculous. You are so shit. I just can't get over you with this transformation into a Free Jacks fan. Okay, whatever. Anything that you want to touch upon briefly before we get
Hold on 1 second. I've just got a TMO check. Sorry. I'll be right back. Hold on. So that last comment was too disrespectful to the Free Jacks. A low degree of danger, no mitigation. That's a yellow card, Matt.
All right. You know what? You're picking up on Fitzpatrick's shtick. He gave me the red cards and the yellow cards in the first segment. But okay, good on you. All right. Anything else that you want to bring up before we hit you with the picks?
I don't know what people want to watch in rugby, but I don't want to watch TMO reviews all day. I understand some of this is coming in from World Rugby, but MLR, this is your product. You got to think about what you're putting on the screen, and I got to tell you, it's I don't like watching TMO rugby. So, whatever, do what you want to do. But the best game of the weekend, coincidentally, had the least TMO intervention. So, do the math here.
Here's a couple of fixes. Let's go toward the NFL's red flag thing, where each team gets a red flag to throw in each half. Number 2, let's limit the amount that a TMO can look back. If there's a conversion or a kick made, you can't go back and say, okay, that's off the board. If points are on the board, it's too late. That's one thing. And also, you can only go back 2 phases. That's it. End of story. Move on, and we'll fix it. You're welcome, everybody. You're welcome. All right, Bryan, let's get your wisdom on the Rugby Odds picks in the MLR upcoming week. We've got DC hosting Seattle. Interesting battle with Seattle. DC -3 at home.
Yeah, this is an interesting game, and I think one that Old Glory really wants to win here. Seattle didn't look super sharp against Anthem, so this is a tough call. Bit of a road trip for them. Okay, I'll take your pick of DC by 3.
All right. Well, that's not my pick. My picks are on the rugby odds. These are just the spreads from the rugby odds. The Anthem hosting NOLA. NOLA -10 favorites on the road.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm going to have to go against that one. Anthem aren't that bad if they put it actually, a little bit more of a serious roster out there on the field against NOLA. I think they've got a shot at home. So I'll take Anthem to beat that spread. No, this might be a chance to get that first win. If ever one's going to come, NOLA's lost 5 in a row. Now's the time.
All right. And Houston, the authors of that statement win versus San Diego, knocking San Diego out off of the perch of being undefeated at home, -6 with a red hot 3-win in a row LA team.
Yeah, LA's won 3 in a row, but gave up 44 points in that game. Their defense wasn't that impressive.
Well, you play with 13 and 14 guys all the time, as Billy Meeks pointed out after the game. It's difficult.
That's fair. But man, Houston, you said it. They made a statement against San Diego. I don't see them losing this one, and I see them winning by I'm going to say by 14.
And then we have a great East-West battle. You've got San Diego at home hosting Chicago. Is this San Diego's first 2-game losing streak? And it's -4 Legion.
This is a tough one, too. San Diego, John Manenti, they're not going to be pleased with that game. Not so much the loss, but the manner of the loss. I mean, the scoreline maybe even flattered them a little bit. They were comprehensively beaten. So you have to expect that they'll bounce back in this one. Although Chicago is, they're the best team in the East. So, this is a great game to watch. I'll take your San Diego, your San Diego. I'll go with them by 5.
All right, and let's go. Let's look at Emmanuel Albert to get into the try zone for Houston. He's today's guest. He's got to get the MLR weekly bump. New England, your New England Free Jacks, -9 hosting Miami.
Man, that win in Utah was just so massive for their fortunes, and I think they kind of sorted out what they're going to do now at number 10 with Patras out. Penny came in and made such a difference in that second half. I think he starts this one, and I think they do a number on Miami, who just haven't found their form this year. So I'll take the Free Jacks comfortably in this one. I'll give them 10 points.
And do you not want to salute your former Free Jacks great, Reese McDonald, on his comeback?
I got to say, he looked sharp. He was just wearing the wrong jerseys. But I wish him the best for the rest of the season in every game he doesn't play against New England.
All right. Well, Bryan, keep an eye on your mailbox in the meantime. You might get something different in the mail one of these days that you don't have to wear that hideous stuff. It's not hideous. I'm just playing the New York foil here. Anyway, that's it, Bryan. We're out of time, unfortunately. So I want to thank Mr. Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News. I want to thank John Fitzpatrick of Rugby Morning, Emmanuel Albert of the Houston SaberCats, Rachel Ehrecke of the Denver Onyx, and thank you for tuning in. Please check out our other shows, including the critically acclaimed The Rugby Odds. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube, sign up for our weekly newsletter, and please tell your friends about our American Red Cross blood donor team.